Hi BookTube! So I'm here to announce a readathon, the Little House Readathon that I am co-hosting with Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books. She is the originator for this readathon and she very nicely asked me to co-host this event. It's taking place in February 7th through the 10th, and those are the dates that Laura Ingalls Wilder was born and when she died. And so for this event, you can read anything related to Laura Ingalls Wilder. She is most famous for her Little House on the Prairie series, but there's a variety of other books you can read, biographies of her and spin-off series, along with anything related to like the famous TV show, things like that. We will also be doing a live event on February the 11th at, let's see, it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So please feel free to join us for that. And so for that live show, we are going to be doing trivia for Farmer Boy, because that actually is our group read for this event. You don't have to read this book, Farmer Boy by Laura Ingalls Wilder, to show up for the live show, but it's helpful for the trivia, because the trivia can be a little bit tricky because they're not like your easy questions. I feel like sometimes they're a little bit more like a deep dive, so you have to have this kind of like fresh in your memory for the trivia a little bit. But this is book, my copy says it's the third in the series, but it's actually the second book that Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote. And when I was a kid, when I read this series, I'm pretty sure I skipped this book because this is about Almanzo, Laura's husband, when he was a little boy growing up in Malone, New York. And I've read it quite a few times as an adult, but like I said, I'm pretty sure I might have skipped this as a kid. So if you're anything like me, you might have skipped this one as well. So it's nice that we're going to be showcasing this book for this event. But yeah, this is our group read. And then I decided to do an all Almanzo themed reading event, or TBR for myself. And so I thought I would share with you the other books I'm reading along with Farmer Boy. So I'll start with, I am going to be listening to the audiobook of Dean Butler's memoir, Prairie Man, My Little House Life and Beyond, and with the foreword by Melissa Gilbert and Allison Ingram, other actors on the Little House on the Prairie TV show. And when I was chatting with Elizabeth over gathering information for this readathon, she had mentioned to me that she was planning to read this book as it was gifted to her. And so I luckily found it on my library as an audiobook, and it also is available on ebook. And since it was like recently published last year in 2024, it should be hopefully readily available to you as well if you're interested in this. But here he is now, and then that's his Almanzo, his character in the TV show. And so other Almanzo related books that I'm considering rereading, because these are all, I've read all of these. Farmer Boy Goes West by Heather Williams. I read this a year or two ago for the Little House on the Prairie reading event, and this is like, it kind of fills in the blanks from Farmer Boy when Almanzo was a little boy until he pops up in South Dakota courting Laura. In between that time, this covers him moving from New York to Minnesota, and it gives you a fuller picture of his family and all the siblings that he had, and all the wonderful food. Because the one thing is that food is constantly mentioned in this book, because he had not a very different life, but I feel like he came from a little bit of different wealth status than Laura, because he not only craved, or like he seemed to really like lots of food, he was given lots of food as well. And so kind of to go along with that, I thought it would be fun to actually cook something from the Little House cookbook by Barbara M. Walker. And I got this cookbook years ago, and I haven't made anything in it, but it's lots of pictures from the books as well in here, and like stories behind some of these recipes. But there's simple things like bread and pancakes and jam. Here's one for cranberry jelly and things like that. But I just want to comb through and find like one or two things to make from this, because Farmer Boy always makes me hungry with all these descriptions of food, so I can't resist wanting to cook something from here. And then another book I thought I would just mention. It's basically a pamphlet, but it covers more of like the Wilder side of things versus the Ingalls side. It's a Wilder in the West. And it's a really long subtitle. One woman's valiant account of homesteading alone on the prairies near DeSmet, Dakota territory in the 1880s. The story of Eliza Jane Wilder of Little House on the Prairie renown. And this is by William Anderson. And Eliza is featured in the Little House on the Prairie series as well, because Eliza Jane is a teacher of Laura, and they do not get along, which is kind of funny because they become relatives. And yeah, so this is very interesting to read about. Anything like homesteading out in the West, like by yourself, and she talks a little bit about this is like all her account. But they do mention how, she was homesteading by herself, but, eventually Almanzo and his brother joined her as well. But there's like little pictures as well of the Wilder family. So this is like a little interesting tidbit to add. And so I'm for sure I'm going to be reading these two, and we're focusing on the cookbook, and then reading Prairie Man as well. So I thought I'd kind of give an announcement and a TBR as well for February. So yes, please join me if you're at all interested in the Little House on the Prairie series or anything Laura Ingalls Wilder. They're great fun. I have lots of fond memories of reading these as a child and as an adult because I love like Western themed books. And yes, so the event is February 7th through the 10th, and please feel free to join us on the live show February 11th. I think that's a Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.